Welcome to the Modern Multiple Streams of Income in a Changing World presentation. So this is actually a global conversation on visibility, leverage, and sustainable business ecosystem. And this work is actually rooted in a framework of identity, vitality, and prosperity. And very soon you will get to understand why this conversation is very, very timely. Uh, and I'm really excited to have this conversation because I think it comes at a time when people are reflecting. It's not about in the past when we were just happy because we had a job, we had a roof over our head. But now people are reflecting deeply about work, business, money, and the future. So that is why when I announced this, I intentionally did not call it, digital marketing, network marketing, online business, passive income, because that's not really where the conversation is actually going. So the conversation started from observing what has been happening around us over the last few years and asking myself whether the ways that we have been traditionally doing business, and generating income are still serving us in the same way that they did, back then. I don't know if I'm the only one who has been thinking about it, or you have also been feeling the shift, and maybe you couldn't put, a finger to what's really going on. And as I reflected on my own journey and watched what was happening globally and locally, I realized that many of us can feel that something has shifted, really. There has been a shift, and we may not all explain it in the same way, but we can feel it in our businesses, in our work, in our spending patterns, in our levels of certainty, and even in the way opportunities are emerging. So that is why my intention tonight is not to really go wide, but is to open possibilities and expand perspective and help people just think differently about what is available to them in the changing world. So some of what I will share comes from my own lived experience over more than 20 years of building businesses, uh, you know, coaching, navigating transition, and learning just to adapt. Some of it comes from observing what is happening globally and where I believe opportunities are emerging. So my hope really for tonight is that by the end of night, you live with more clarity and at least one practical insight that you can apply to your own life, business or career. And just for those of you who don't know me, my name is Hannah Lecha. I'm a transformational leadership coach, a holistic health coach, and I'm the founder of Grace Rising and Rooted Grace Wellness. I am a former University of Botswana lecturer. I'm a biologist by profession. I jumped ship into entrepreneurship. My journey started into leadership coaching as a speaker, a coach, and a trainer, and I evolved over the years, to step into health and wellness, to step into, the full business ecosystem of really, of really building. So my journey didn't start like other people in business. I didn't do business at school. I just studied biology, up to master's level. And then I left my university career at 29 years old to transition into entrepreneurship. And it's not because I had money or I actually knew what I wanted, to do, but I knew what I did not want. I didn't want to continue climbing the academic ladder. I didn't want to become an academic. I didn't want to become a researcher. So the most possible way was to just quit and go figure out what I actually wanted to do. And since then, I've built and operated multiple businesses across industry. I've experienced seasons of growth that stretched me. I have businesses that failed. I learned what creates resilience and what creates dependency. And I've learned that building income is not only about strategy, it's also about identity, it's about timing, it's about adaptability and being willing to keep learning. So this journey is what led to tonight's conversation. So I'm not really speaking as someone who has all the answers. I'm sharing as someone who has experienced, experimented, who has observed, who has built, who has paused, who has rebuilt, and who is continuing uh, learning and building at the same time. So what are we going to explore today? I don't think I have that slide there. So I want to quickly walk you through where we are going so that you know what to expect and relax in the conversation. So we're going to begin by looking at what has changed in the world around us. Because I think it's difficult to make good decisions if we are trying to solve today's problems using yesterday's assumptions. So it's not going to work. So from there, we'll talk about multiple streams of income, uh, from a perspective of creating options, flexibility, and resilience. I'll also then share some lessons from my own journey because some of my biggest insights do not come from courses or books. They came from living through seasons of uncertainty and observing what held and what did not. We'll then move into a conversation about leverage, particularly digital leverage and why I believe digital skills are becoming increasingly important, regardless of whether someone is employed, running a business, building a personal brand, or working even in network marketing. We'll also talk about relationship-based businesses, because despite all the changes happening in the world, I still believe relationships remain one of the strongest building assets. And then towards the end, I want to leave people with practical pathways so that they can explore rather than, just inspiration alone. So the question that I want to ask is that, can you feel it too? Because remember, I said there is change in the global perspective. And honestly, I believe this change started with COVID because COVID changed so many things. Where we stopped traveling, we started doing a lot of work virtually, and we moved more into the digital space, into the online space. And most of us thought that was just a phase and it will pass and we'll go back to normal. But I bet you can agree with me that we didn't really go back to the normal that we knew. It almost became a new normal. It always became a new normal for everyone. And then now over the years, I've also noticed that that change has come right into our front door in our country. And this actually really happened for us in Botswana when there was change of government. We started feeling the impact in the economy, you know. And that change in economy actually brought us to the COVID days. Because what did government do and corporates to cut down on the cost on expenses? They then said, okay, we are no longer sending our employees on trips unless it's necessary. We are cutting travel. We're going to have meetings virtual. We're going to have trainings virtual. So you see that it's beyond, now it's not about COVID. It's about what is working and what's not really working. And because the economy is the one that has really been hit hard, so we are now feeling it as the supply chain has been disrupted. Because when people move around, when they travel, they actually support many different parts of the supply chain. So it means it's accommodation. It means it's buying food in stores. It means they are using fuel. So people are selling fuel. So, all of those things that happens when travel happens, they stop if there is no travel. And what do they affect? They actually affect, our business. Even those who are not, entrepreneurs who work, it affects them. Because, sometimes going to those trips creates a little bit of income for them, in terms of those allowances, but then they no longer get them when they are actually not traveling. So that's why it moves from global to whatever country you are in. Maybe you are not in Botswana, you can replace Botswana with your own country and then bring it to the personal. How is that affecting you as a person, as a human being? Because sometimes we look at things from at the top that, okay, it's government, is not us. But they actually all come down to us. Yes, everybody's affected. So they all come back to us. So that's why I want everyone to look at how has this affected you at a personal level? You, whether you are an employee, whether you are an entrepreneur, at your level, in your family, how has this really affected you? And even think about how is it going to continue affecting you? So I know that service providers are feeling it, entrepreneurs are feeling it, all different industries. And I'm not saying this to create fear or to suggest traditional ways that no longer work. I'm saying it because I think we need to become aware of the environment we are operating in and then respond intentionally. So that reflection eventually made me rethink how I build and where I place my energy. If you remember very well, Sis T and others, when COVID hit, I actually did some of these, trainings. I did these sessions when COVID came, just help people to prepare, their mindset around COVID and to know how can they navigate it, what can they expect. Because when you don't have knowledge, you actually panic. You don't understand, or if you have not foreseen something that was happening, you panic and feel like things are not really going to work for you. So this brings us to these conversations that all systems are producing diminishing results anymore. So as I reflected on these changes, I realized something that I think many people are quietly experiencing. That for many years there was a fairly predictable path. So it was study, work, build a career, start a business, work harder. And when we say start a business, we are talking about a brick and mortar business. If you try to start something that was not brick and mortar, you are told start a proper business. If you were into the arts, into the creative, you were doing like this online businesses, they said start a proper business. Because back then a proper business was a brick and a mortar business that has an office, that has got employees, that has got overheads. And for many people that worked. It worked for us. That's what brought us to where we are. But increasingly we are discovering that effort alone is not always creating the same outcomes that we used to get. So that does not mean, hard work no longer matters. It means the playing field has changed. That it doesn't mean that when you work so hard, you will get a lot of result proportional to that. So people now discover, businesses differently. They build trust differently. They build, buy differently. They consume information differently. And the question is, are we adapting to that? Because many things that previously required large buckets and gatekeepers are becoming more accessible. There are no longer those gatekeeping things anymore. So that shift made me realize that perhaps the question is no longer only how do we work harder or do more? So maybe the question is, how do we build differently and more sustainably in the environment that we are today? So that's really the conversation that I want to really, bring up there, so that we start looking from where we are at the local level to how can we play at the global level without leaving where we are. When we used to do things physically, how can we do a hybrid of both physical, virtual, or online? Where we used to do manually, where can we leverage on systems so that we save more time and we work sustainably? So that's really that conversations that I want to get it. So as I shared with you, I am a biologist by profession, and I was developed to become a full-time lecturer at the University of Botswana, and I quit just after I came back from my master's. And I did not really start because I knew what I wanted, because I wasn't ready, because I had money. is because I had this vision of another life that I could actually have. And I had the desire to change my life and implement that vision. So it means I started before I was ready, and I learned a lot of things along the way. So I did not wait to have more money, more confidence, more certainty, more qualifications in what I was doing. So I quit and I learned along the way. So that is the path that I actually, went through. So that led me from being an employee, being an employer, in the different industry that I have served in. I actually started very small. I normally tell people that I started very small. I started by just selling bulk airtime. And then from the bulk airtime, I moved into a service industry. I opened a laundromat. From there, I milled sorghum. From the sorghum into the retail store, and then retail into hospitality, into real estate, hospitality, coaching. And then right now I am playing in the relationship-based business space, which is the network marketing business. And I'm also leveraging digital skills. So I've not abandoned all these other businesses that I have. The real estate is still there, the hospitality and the tourism is still there, the coaching is still there. But I'm now building it as an ecosystem that support each other instead of fragmented business like I did in the past. I never saw them as a collective there. So one of the things that really changed me, shaped how I see life, and spearheaded my transition from being an academic into entrepreneurship is actually 3 books that I read. So I read 3 books, and I didn't get these books from the shelf. When I came back from Canada, when I graduated from my master's, I came back August 2000. And one of my sister-in-laws invited me to a business meeting. It turned out to be an Amway business meeting. So I loved what they shared. I became an Amway distributor. Amway was so good in their personal development space. They didn't just focus on us, sharing their products, selling them, distributing them. They knew that as a distributor or as a wellness advocate, you are actually the asset. So in order for you to grow the business, you need to develop the asset, the one that's building the business. So for me, I got so immersed into the personal development section that Amway offered. And I immediately saw the bigger picture. So the 3 books that I read at that time was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. So I read them in those orders because that's what was actually recommended. Rich Dad, Poor Dad hit a spot, but the Cash Flow Quadrant is what awoken the entrepreneur in me, because that is where I started really thinking about income and how to generate income beyond my job as a university lecturer. So one of the frameworks that had a significant influence on how I think about work, business, and income is Robert Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. So whether people agree with all of his ideas or not, I think this particular framework is useful because it helps us see that income can be generated in different ways and that the different models create different experiences and outcomes. But when I look back, I realized that Robert Kiyosaki has always been looking at sustainability. How can you do business without being consumed by business, without you being the only person running the business? So the cash flow quadrant talks about 4 broad ways people generate income. So there are 4. The left side, on the top left is the employee, bottom left is the self-employed, top right is the business owner, top bottom is an investor. So we all start at the employee level. At least the majority of people start at the employee level. And when they quit, they go and do the same thing that they learned for work. So they become self-employed. But then there are others who just do a business that they have never worked in and they become business owners. It has a system. So the difference is that with the employee, you trade your time for money. Self-employed, you are still employed, but you've employed yourself. Business owner, you run a system that works without you. You leverage on other people. You leverage on systems to run. And then you can also then generate passive income there. And then as an investor, now you use your money to make money for you. So there you are an investor. You are also earning residual income from some of your businesses. So that's really how I looked at it. So it means I stopped being an employee. I became self-employed. My goal was to always move to the right quadrant. And that is what transitioned me from just real estate into hospitality. But then real estate remained what generated some of that income, from there. So because of that perspective that I had at a very early age, it meant that I was looking, not just looking at one income stream, I was really looking at what is it that I can actually, do that would not require me to be working 24/7. That would generate income while I'm not working. So that is why real estate became one of the things that I started with. And then I did other brick and mortar businesses. I did retail. Then I moved into coaching, moved into the digital, the online space. Then I leveraged network marketing. So it was never one stream of income there. And I didn't see multiple streams of income as doing many things. That's what people think. Because we are trained to say, focus, just do one thing. And that is why people were working like for about 40 years, 50 until they retire. They never saw an opportunity of doing something. Some even worked in one organization. And when you try to change jobs, your parents would be saying, why are you jumping around, moving from one job to the other? Because they stayed in one job for a very long time. They didn't see, so they don't understand why you are jumping up and down. But for you are not really just jumping because you are looking at opportunities. You are looking at what options do you have. So I want us to look at multiple streams of income as something that gives us options. It gives us flexibility, it gives us leverage and resilience because if you are depending on one stream of income, whether you are an employee, when you lose your job, whether you are not well or the employer releases you, you are retrenched, it means you don't have anything to fall back into. If you have got one business, if it's not doing well, like most businesses did not do well during COVID, if it's only one business during COVID, it means you stop trading, but you still had bills to pay and overheads that you were really paying. So I'm seeing this as resilience, as I'll share a bit later on my own journey and how it actually showed up, that resilience there. So because of that, we end up having three types of income. So the first one is the active income. Active income is where you are actively working. If you work, you earn. You stop working, you stop earning. So it's simple as that. It doesn't matter whether you are employed because if you don't come to work, it's either you are on leave, and if your leave days are finished, you get on unpaid leave. So it's just, you understand how that looks like if you're an employee. If you're a business, you're an entrepreneur, it means you gotta work so that you create the service that would pay you. So if you stop working and you are sick, you don't have a system that can work for you or a team that could work, it means you stop generating income. And then there is a system income. So that is the income that you do when you have a business, like your brick and mortar business, that requires on, having a space, having team and other people doing it. But most importantly, having a system that runs all of that together. Not you becoming the system that when you are not well or when you are not at work, then everything really stops like that. So here you have got systems, you have got teams, you have got infrastructure, So assets begin carrying part of the load. So you are still not the one doing it. So property is a good example of that. So it's a system. So when you look at hospitality, the one that I'm doing is also a system. if done properly. Like for me, it's a system because I don't work there full time. I don't have a position there. I'm just like the visionary, you know, and the managing director, but I don't really work there. And then there is leveraged income. So this is where reach extend beyond your own time and effort. So here we are looking at some of the, you know, the online business, online space. We are looking at things like digital platforms. We are looking at affiliate marketing. We are looking at relationship-based businesses like network marketing. So all of this can all create leverage. So it means everything doesn't just depend on you. There is a system or, you know, a network of leverage there, whether it's digital, it's online, or it's on other people. So the question is whether we are intentionally building a combination that support the life that we want, or we are not. So there is no right or wrong. It really depends on your level, where you are at. What are your values? If you value freedom, you value, you know, time, you value your health, you value your relationships. So you want to really choose an income, you know, model that would not compromise that. That would not want you to keep working 24/7 and compromise your health, your relationship, you know. So that's what would really determine what it is that you really want. And for me, I've been there. I think I've experienced uh, most of them and where they have been tested. So life tested are some of those are, you know, assumptions for me. So when I look at during COVID, there are some of the businesses that literally just stopped working, but I had wage bills to pay. I have had overheads to pay. I've got loans to pay, regardless of whether those businesses were operating or not. And then last year, when I took a 1 year pause, 1 year plus pause, I also realized that even though my coaching was online, it was actually not leveraged. There was no leverage there. Because when I pulled the curtain and stopped, everything stopped, save for a few uh, corporate work that I got there and there, but everything stopped. So let's look at what COVID did for me. Fortunately, because I had multiple streams of income, not everything stopped. But the hospitality completely shut down because we do have residential and commercial, you know, property that is being leased. That continued to work. Although with the residential, we had to, you know, compromise and uh, give them some payment terms because some then stopped working or some had half salaries so that they could pay later. But the commercial, as you know, leases continued the way that they were supposed to continue. The same way that we continue in our businesses when there was no business. And then back then, my coaching continued because I was coaching online. I had like a few programs that were like courses, but most of it was online, so it continued working. I didn't really feel that in terms of those areas, but with the hospitality, I felt it. It was a really hard hit. And I wondered what could have happened if that was the only single stream of income that we had. But because we had other things, like my husband is an attorney, he runs a law firm. The law firm was closed. So it means these are the only three that generated that income for us. And then I also then learned that virtual is not the same as leverage last year when I paused my coaching work because I had not really leveraged some of them into the digital space. They still required me to host the classes. I still needed to show up, you know, every time for those. And when I stopped, that's when everything stopped. But because I still had other multiple streams of income, I was still supported financially. But I felt the pain because in terms of generating that type of income that I generated from my work, because sometimes there is so much freedom in generating what you could literally use without a lot of, negotiations and all of that. So I could then realize that, oh, okay, this was not really built on a firm foundation, or I did not build it for sustainability into the future. So that really shaped on how I looked at it now when I come back to do it. How can I really do it? So this changed how I think about business, the streams of income, the leverage, and sustainability. So is it really sustainable? Is it really leveraged so that even if I'm not there, I'm not actively working, can I still earn from it? And the answer for my coaching business was no, it wasn't. So I think this is the biggest conversation that I want us to have, that I invite everyone to really take stock of where they are at in terms of how they are generating, income. Are you relying on one income stream, or do you have multiple income streams? What happens? What would happen if you lose your job today, or if your business goes out of, your current business goes out of market, or it stops running like what we did during COVID? And then look at it. Is it leverage? Does it have leverage? Because it's those multiple streams of income and leverage that gives you sustainability in the long run. So leverage could be, it's your business. It has got systems. It could be your brick and mortar business, but you've put system in it so that even when you are not there, it can still operate. But sometimes it's even beyond that, okay, if it is a brick and mortar and we are now having a national recession, what happens if there is a national recession that is slowing down that business, or that business is stopping? I know it's a lot in services, but in the hospitality industry, we have felt it more. I think because when travel is restricted, the hospitality industry is the most hit, because it really thrives on people moving from one place to another. So basically, that is really the question that the conversation that I want to invite people into, to really look into where you are currently and how is that really working for you. And I'm bringing this because it's very interesting. I think there are two things that are happening now. I was looking at a newspaper last week. I don't know if you have seen that, Sisti, where it was written that most Botswana are migrating to Europe because of the recession in our economy. So they are migrating to Europe. So we are at a place where we realize that no, things are not really working well. And the options that most people are only thinking is, okay, let me relocate and go work somewhere. Let me go and look for a job, internationally. And then the second one that I'm seeing people now, they are becoming more open to working on the digital space, like on the online space. But what I kind to differ with is that digital is not actually the business, because digital is the leverage. So we can earn from the digital space, but I think it is more sustainable if we use it as leverage and not just using it as, yes, I saw that. And we're not just using it like it is the end to the means. So it's like it is the business, because it then also stands the chance of becoming saturated in the long run if it's not really leverage. But it also then depends on you doing the work initially. So that is where it needs to be leveraged properly. And I'm saying that digital is not the business, because digital is actually leverage. So what can help you leverage even your existing brick and mortar business. Even if you are an employee or a corporate, you want to leverage on it to build your brand. That is how you find potential employers. When you are looking for another job, you can use it for that. So I'm seeing it as leverage that will improve your visibility, the visibility of your business. Whether you are running a brick and mortar business, an online business, or a relationship-based business, which is like your network marketing business, the digital skills and the digital space is what will give you leverage on that visibility. It gives you reach. So it helps you reach areas that you wouldn't reach with our normal, with our normal marketing and advertising channel, like with the newspaper, with the TV and all of that. So this expands your reach. So you can actually reach the global market wherever you are. It helps you build trust as you share your message. It's what will help you scale and even build assets that can generate income for you when you are no longer, working. So that's what I am really seeing. I'm seeing it working everywhere. So whether you are employed, it can strengthen your personal brand and visibility. If you are in network marketing, it can help you extend your reach and attract people beyond your immediate circles. You know how they keep on saying we are bothering our relatives and cousins, and friends and forcing them to buy or do the business. It allows you to reach out to people that you don't know who are actually actively looking for your services. If you are a coach, consultant, teacher, you can communicate and scale, you know, virtually and digitally. So what excites me is not that the digital space does not replace existing ways of building. What excites me is that it removes the barriers. Today, someone sitting in Botswana can learn globally. You can earn globally, you can sell globally, and build your business globally. So that was not easy before because you needed to go into that country and get the visas and get everything that is required to set up the business there if you wanted to trade there. But nowadays, you are trading there, but you are here. You are wherever you are in your own country. So that is why I do not see digital space or digital marketing as the destination. I see it as leverage that can support many, many different pathways depending on where you are right now. And what the global changes have done is that they've changed the rules of visibility. They've changed from traditional to digital. Traditionally, you needed to put, your advert in a newspaper, in a magazine. You needed to go to radio, you needed to go to TV and pay a lot of money. Nowadays, you just bypass those barriers and go directly to the people that you want to target with digital. So the digital space has really broken those barriers and extended our reach way beyond what we thought was actually, possible. So it has shifted. If you're a business owner, you can communicate directly with customers. If you're a professional, you can build your thought leadership. A coach, you can build your global audience. Someone can teach, sell, or serve without needing to own a building, without buying advertising space or waiting for traditional media. And what excites me about this is not that digital replaces traditional marketing. You can still combine them because I still think there is somewhere where it works. But it has democratized access. So anyone can actually access it. So visibility is no longer reserved for large organizations that had like marketing budgets. No, you can do it with your minimum budget. And you can even hire other people to do it for you. So ordinary people now have tools that previously belonged mainly to companies with large budgets. And this matters because visibility is what creates options, really. So here we are looking at like one skill that has got many possibilities. So those skills, digital skills, can support your business, your career, your brand, your global reach, your income, you name it. You just need to align with what would really work for you wherever you are at that particular time. And one thing that I've realized where it becomes really very interesting is even leveraging through people and systems. So this is where relationship businesses like network marketing comes in. And I think when I look back at the last 2 years, less than last 2 years when I was building this, I've always been used to building with systems. So with my hospitality business, I've got systems. With my coaching business, I've got systems, even though they were not leveraged. And when I got into the relationship business, the network marketing space, I actually didn't have systems to plug into. And I think that really was something that I felt like, no, something is not right. There should be a better way of really doing this. And I realized that what was lacking there was one, systems, two, leveraged. Leverage. Even though was talking to my team there that one of our mentors, actually in the network marketing business that I'm in, created a system, and we didn't really stick very long with it because I realized that the system was good for uh, customers, supporting customers to onboard them and help them use their products. But it wasn't really good for when we are building the business and supporting builders or distributors. So there was just like that disconnect. But we didn't really plug into that system. And that was really the missing link. Because relationship business is people and then the product. The company is responsible for distributing the product. You just need to connect the people with the product. And we have been trying to do that like manually. But if there is a system, then I would say the relationship business actually eats the digital marketing business for lunch if you are doing it as a business. Because the other one gives you some passive income, but the relationship one, which is network marketing, gives you residual income. It gives you income that comes even after you have worked, after a very long time since you have done the work. So that is really mainly the difference between that residual and the passive one. The other one will give you passive income. The other one will also give you residual income. So that is really what helped me to when I looked at the gaps and I was wondering, why am I not really getting this? Why are my results not translating, you know, into business results? Because I look at my life and things through a sustainability lens. I don't want to work so hard for little results. My system doesn't really want that. So I want to see that. But I also don't really give up easily. I like people who quietly quit. I don't quietly quit. I really look into to see, to become honest with myself that, okay, these are not the results that I want. But I believe if other people are able to do it, there should be a better way that I can actually do it. And that is when I started answering that question. I started then seeing answers and seeing possibilities that there is a better way of really, doing this. And that is where I am looking at, taking people on this journey, taking my team on helping them also step into, leveraging through people and most importantly through systems so that they can see the results from the work that they are actually, doing. And let me just pause here and then maybe just ask uh, someone who is here, Sisti, does this what I'm sharing, are you seeing it from a different lens? Did you feel it? What has been happening in your world?
Yeah, what I really resonate with it because after COVID, business was never the same again,
Mm,
and it progressed from COVID to now, where the economy it's at a low ebb, and as such, that are running a business in the same way that I've run a business over the years. I've really struggled. Uh, I might not have put a finger on what it is that I needed to do, maybe to leverage, as you put it. But I could feel that it's not the same. And even when I just look around, I realize that uh, we are not the only ones. Quite a number of businesses are struggling to keep afloat. So yeah, it's really resonating with me.
yeah. Yeah, and one of the reasons why I'm really having this conversation and taking it to my community is because I realized that sometimes we are very resistant to change. So the same way that we do in our health, where we can see that we are not well, and then we don't take appropriate action to improve our health until our health deteriorates at a very high level and we can no longer resuscitate it. So I see us doing the same thing even in business. So we see that things are not really working well, but we are too resistant to change and adapt to what could really work. So that is why one of the books that I read actually many years back that I didn't mention here is uh is the book called Who Moved My Cheese. I think we are in the Who Moved My Cheese phase. Because in the book Who Moved My Cheese, they were using like mice as an example. So the mice, there was cheese land. So a big chunk of a mound of cheese. So these mice kept on going there to just eat. They were just digging the cheese, digging the cheese, going back to rest, eating the cheese, going back to rest. They were not even lifting their eyes to see what's going around the cheese mound. They're not even going around it. What they didn't realize is that there were other mice that were eating the cheese the other side. So they only realized when they came for the last time and they didn't find the cheese mound, and they didn't think that someone ate the cheese. They thought that someone moved it. And they asked, who moved my cheese? But no one had actually moved the cheese. And that's how we operate. When things are not working, we resist change until the shit hits the fan, until we are thrown into the deep end. When we could
Yeah.
embrace change earlier, when we had resources, we could pivot. We could adapt and pivot. So I think we are at a space where we are being called to adapt, you know, where
Mm.
adaptability is not an option now, is how can we really, uh, how can we adapt so that we don't come and cry and said, someone has moved our cheese. Where we keep on saying people have taken our businesses. That's what we
Mm.
say. Foreigners are taking our businesses, all of those things.
Yeah.
And we are not even looking at why are they taking, what are they doing differently than us, you know? And because the options now that we even have, which is for leverage, that is digital skills for leverage, we are just thinking, no, people are going to cheat us, they are going to steal our money online. We just come with all of those things that we said, no, they are going to steal money. Those things are not they are not genuine. We don't even try to see if they are genuine, to leverage. And we don't even realize that you can actually learn it from simple steps. When you are guided, you can learn about it.
Mm.
And I normally say that we are very slow, sister, because I look back, I had my first CRM. So I started building my mailing list in 2016. 2016, I had a CRM. And I could still look at bigger companies who didn't have a CRM. How did I know they didn't have a CRM? They were sending me an email and it was attaching 100 other people. So you could see that this email is sent to this person and this person and then this person many years back. But email marketing has always been there. But how many of us in Botswana used it? How many of us had a client relationship management system? Even those who have it, they never learned how to leverage and use it properly. So I look back and realize that I've always leveraged on the technology, but I never took the time to learn it properly. So I kind of like learned as I go and winged it along the way. So that is the only difference. Now it started to become intentional. I said, okay, I'm gonna learn this because
Mm.
I believe that I am better positioned to do it because I've been doing it for a very long time, and my background also allows me to do it. But once I stepped inside, I realized that it is also very simple because they are not doing it for people who have got a master's degree or a PhD. They are doing it so that anyone who can move a mouse, who has access to a computer or a device, can do it. They can do it. So they just simplified it because I decided that I'm at a level where I don't want to do many things by myself. I said, okay, I want to do just things that are in my sweet spot and delegate others. I said, no, I'm not going to delegate this. I said, I'm going to do it because I want to see how easy it is for other people to do it. I also want to learn it so that I can guide someone when they are doing it. And I realized that it's just step by step. There are videos that walk you through what to do. You just follow them through. That is the digital space. And then now with network marketing, because we were not taught how to do it well, from the beginning, most of the companies don't have the support to teach you how to do it. So people just try things, wing it. We model others who are doing it, but not doing it really well. So a lot of people have been bent. So they've bent their fingers with network marketing so that they don't see it as an option. But I've always said, no, there's something that we are not doing right. If other people in other countries can really do this and they live through it, they earn millions and millions from it, why can't we do it? What is it that we are not doing right? Because this is one of the businesses that does not depend on our local economy only. That is why when with network marketing, when a company expands into a new market, you will see the people there coming from the US, from the UK. They go to that where that new market is launching. Why? Because they know that they don't only need to do it in their local area. They need to do it with people that they don't know, reach out to new people. So that's why I said we can do it. This is like normally they say this is the game. This is the one that the business that separates, that does not care whether you are educated, whether you are old, whether you are young. It doesn't. Whether you've got a qualification, if you know what to do and follow the system, you can build it. So anyone can build it. So it bridges that barrier, that educational barrier, that money barrier, because it is a low startup capital. You don't need to keep stock. The manufacturers handles the stocks. They handle a lot of the other big, you know, systems and communications that happens along it. So I think we also need to just shift our mindset towards it and look at how can we do it properly and sustainably, and become open again to really learning how to do it properly. Because for most of us, me inclusive, I didn't learn it properly. That onboarding of knowing what it is that you need to be doing when you start, from the day you start, that is really where most of us really lose it. And then to tell you the truth, locally, even most of the people who you see that they are doing really well, they are doing very well at a cost. Either at a cost of their health, at the cost of their relationship, or they're not even doing it in integrity. They are just cheating people around to do it. But if you do it properly, you don't need to do all of those stunts that people are doing. So with it, we are really able to leverage existing infrastructure while focusing on just serving people and growing relationships. And if systems are built well, the income becomes less dependent on individual effort over time. So that is really what I wanted to communicate. And I'm going to go very quickly here because my battery is dying now. I tried to charge it. I don't know what's really happening. So I couldn't really uh, charge it properly. All right. So basically, what is my recommendation? My recommendation really is digital. Is that go digital, whatever business that you are doing, because digital is what will support your entire ecosystem business, whether it's a brick and mortar business, whether it's an online business, whether it's your brand, it will support that. And if you are in a relationship business, like we are doing network marketing, I would say do both. Do digital and your network marketing with relationship-based business, because that's what's going to expand your reach, your global reach, your reach from people that you know to those that you don't know. If you are in a country with a small population like us in Botswana, it allows you to tap into other markets. Digital marketing allows you to attract the people who are looking for what you have instead of trying to push what you have into everyone that you know because you don't have that reach. So that is what I'm recommending. Sustainable growth is find leverage for whatever business that you are doing. Whether it's your brick and mortar business, your online, is your network marketing business, step into the digital space so that it can give you leverage, it can extend your reach, and it can allow you to build sustainably. So basically, that is what I would actually recommend, for you there. So the question is, what becomes possible if you build differently? Your visibility is going to improve, your reach will improve, your leverage will improve, and you're going to find many, many opportunities. So if you thought it is the end, you're going to realize that it's actually the beginning, for you there. So there are actually two possible starting pathways for everyone. Is you're going to build with grace, whatever business that you are doing, learn digital skills and leverage on it. Or if you are on the relationship business, network marketing, you need the digital skills to just help you build that residual income. So that is really what I did. So for me right now with the digital space, I started very small. And where I started, my website is in two languages. It's in English and it's in Spanish. I don't even know a single word of Spanish. But the truth is that there are many Spanish people, like in the US, even like more than many people who are speaking Spanish. And they are typing and looking for solutions in the internet. I don't need to know how to speak Spanish. I just need to be able to provide a service that they can also leverage and tap into. And in that, you can start small. You can start like with your $100 investments, and you are learning the skills. At the same time, you have got resale rights. You are selling that product at the same time. How do you sell it? The same things that you are learning in it are the ones that you are using to actually, share and sell, that product to the people who actually want it. But for me, I'm really more excited about how I am now using digital skills to leverage all of my businesses. The marketing for my hotels, the infrastructure for my coaching work as I pivoted. I'm able to do my presentations in a much better way than I did without the digital skills. So everything is really changing for the better. So it's not just about earning income on the digital space with digital marketing for me. And that is why sometimes I look at people who are doing digital marketing and I look at their advertisement, I realize there is a gap because it doesn't show that they are doing digital marketing. I'm not seeing where the skills are working for them. I look at someone's website when they say they're doing digital marketing. If it looks shoddy, I move further away from them. Because I think the pudding should be in the cake. We should be able to see that happening there. So that is what I would really recommend. So basically your next step, if you are interested, I'll share a link where you can book, come have a conversation, and let's see where you are, how best you can be supported and really get started on leveraging any of these leverage modalities that are available on the online in the digital space. So I'll just stop there and get any questions if you have them. Do you have any questions? Or do you have an aha moment?
I think it's both. I think in terms of an aha moment, it's the aspect that you can use the digital space to reach or to reach customers. And then the question that I have is that how do you then learn these digital skills?
Okay, nowadays what they are doing with the digital market, like if you see people marketing digital marketing, is actually where you buy a program that teaches you the digital skills. But then they give you resell rights so that you can also sell the same program that you bought to others. So it's like you are also earning while you are learning. So that is where that the program is. So there are ways that you just the courses where they just teach you the digital skills, step by step, what is needed, what you need to be actually doing. So that's what I'm saying, that right now there are people who are actually doing it. There are some who are actually even delegating, where they are hiring virtual assistants to be doing, uh, you know, to be doing that work for them. But when you learn how to do it, it's very, very simple. You get to start implementing bit by bit, because they even tell you post this, do this, so that you can really be able to set it up. And then there is a lot of support. There is a community. It's not like where you are on your own. No, there is a lot in terms of the support that comes from that. It's only that my battery is dying soon. So I'm just gonna.
Is it what I saw in the email?
Yes, that's what you saw in the email. I thought I could show you how that looks like. Okay, so I think what you saw was just like a landing page. So
Mm.
it was a landing page. Why? Because you need to build it properly. So I think that like that's why I said that's what I've been doing for many, many years, because I've been always leveraging the opt-in. So instead of you just giving someone that link, you want someone to opt in and express interest and then follow the path.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then follow that pathway. So basically that's what really happens, instead of being uh the one who is just pushing it into people's throats like that. So I just want to see if I can just open that and then show you how it looks like. So when someone lands on that, sometimes the level of trust that I have is amazing, because my battery looked so small that I didn't think I'll finish.
Mhm.
I didn't think I'll finish, but I said, you know what, I'll see where it takes me. So once you have set it up, this is how it looks like. So
Mm.
you can, like, here someone can do it in Spanish. So it's in Spanish. I can't read a single word there. I don't even need to read it because it's not meant for me. It's meant for someone who is searching for this and they find it.
Mm.
So, but this is how it looks like in English: a beginner-friendly program to build online income, flexibility, and freedom. So this is like a template system. You just need to edit it and put like your part there, but the rest is done for you.
Mm.
So these are the things that you learn once you are inside this: the foundation, the attraction, the engagement, you know, all of that.
So how do you connect this with uh, the doTERRA business?
I connect with it in terms of, for me, is the marketing. So it's using the system now to set up my own attraction in my system, Kodotel.
Mm,
Like right now, one of the things that we don't have, which we are not really taught, was to just have a landing page where you can send someone to go read about, some of the things that we talk about. So with this, you can actually now create your own landing page where you direct
mm,
people to. So that way you collect the leads, you collect uh the information from people, then you are able to communicate with them, send them message, nurture them, talk to them. Unlike what is happening
mm,
at WhatsApp, where you are just shouting to everyone.
mm.
So that one you are just shouting to everyone, sister. But anyway, let me just stop the recording so that it doesn't